this regular meeting of the Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board to order at 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Member Chapman will conduct the land acknowledgement statement.
The Tolleson Union High School District serves 14,000 students with 15 indigenous communities represented throughout our 7 high schools. The Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Acapella Odom and Pequot peoples, and pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We recognize their enduring connection to this land, their rich culture and language, and the invaluable contributions they've made and continue to make in our community. As we gather today for the Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board meeting, let us remember the significance of these lands and honor the legacy of the original stewards of this territory.
Thank you, Member Chapman. And now it is recommended that the Governing Board approve the consent agenda as presented. Member Luna Nahara. Thank you, Luna Nahara. Roll call, please.
Dr. Luna Nahara,
Here.
Mr. Del Palacio, Mr. Ortega Romero,
Here.
Mr. Chapman,
Here.
and Ms. Sun.
Here. And now we will go to item number 4, approval of the regular agenda. It is recommended that the Governing Board approve the regular meeting agenda. I motion, can I have a second? Roll call, please.
Dr. Luna Nahara,
No.
Mr. Ortega Romero,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
and Ms. Sun.
Yes. And now to our celebration, start of our school. Welcome you back to the school. Superintendent Guys, please take it away.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Adam Schwartz, our Executive Director of School Leadership, is here to share some celebrations.
Good evening, President Sun, Vice President Chapman, the board, Superintendent Caius. Do you have a slide show?
Check 1, check 2.
Sorry. On buttons are tricky. Good evening, President Sun, Vice President Chapman, members of the board, Superintendent Caius. So we have been back to school for about 2 weeks now. Our freshmen started on July 30th with the school campuses all to themselves. They had a day to get used to, accustomed to campus, to find their way around the lunch lines, find their classes. We had a host of upperclassmen on campus, such as our bands, clubs, student council, to help with that special day for our freshmen. The rest of our students came back, the rest of our students came back on July 31st. I want to make sure that we recognize the amazing work done by our transportation department, Mr. Herzog and his team, our buses, seamless operation, Mr. Martinez with our maintenance and custodial teams. Our campus looked awesome. They were fresh and well repaired and clean and ready for the first day of school. And then Mr. Aguirre, the IT team, we got all of our Chromebooks distributed, Ms. Levisi and our food services team feeding thousands of students every day, multiple meals. It ran seamlessly and very pleased with how the first few days of school went. A couple of initiatives. First of all is our cell phone policy. We have a new state law which requires districts to have a plan for students to have distraction-free instructional time. And as we walk campuses, we're seeing students engage with their teachers. We're seeing students engaging with each other and distraction-free classrooms. So that's exciting to see and excited to see how that manifests itself in our students' achievement. As well as, not new, but I got a chance to observe some of our PLCs and PLTs in action on Wednesday last week. And that's where our teachers work together for the common good of our students. to itself. Teaching can be a very, very isolating endeavor, and so our teachers working together, looking at data. Already in the second week of school, they were looking at data, they were planning future assessments, and they were sharing best practices with the interests of our students in mind, and that was amazing to see, and I look forward to seeing that in action in more of our schools. Some upcoming things that put on your calendar. So this Thursday, August 14th, we have our TUHSD Parent Night at all of our campuses, where we'll welcome our parents, look at a chance to walk their students' schedules or see their students' teachers, and learn more about our schools and experience their student schedules. Fall sports, we kick off next Friday, August 22nd, Westview football at Thunderbird. So please, if you have an opportunity to come out and support our programs, we have cross country, golf, swim, volleyball, cheer, football, all starting up here in the fall, so we're excited for that. We have Commitment Day at State Farm Stadium, the second annual, September 9th and 10th, where our seniors can explore their postgraduate options. We have a full day professional development coming up later in September, where every one of our staff members have an opportunity to grow professionally, and we have different sessions for each of them. And we're so excited for this school year, and want to thank our board for their continued support. So, thank you.
Thank you for your update, and now we'll move to the summary of current events with our superintendent guys.
Madam President, members of the board, want to congratulate Sierra Linda on being one of the recipients this month of the DBACS and Honeywell Future Shaper STEM grants. Sierra Linda will receive a $5,000 grant that will go towards supporting the Women in STEM Club, and we want to thank the Arizona Diamondbacks and Honeywell for supporting STEM programs in our district. Recently, the district held its dedication and ribbon cutting ceremony at our new facilities warehouse building. So it was a great event. We want to thank Right Hand Construction for bringing that project to its completion. We have staff that have moved in there now, making a little bit more room at the district office. And this brand new facility is now going to help us with doing central receiving for the district, which will get us better bulk pricing and faster response times when our sites are in need of some of those regular items. So very excited about our brand new facility. We also want to thank McCarthy Construction. So McCarthy Construction came in and they did a backpack drive for us right before the school year started. And we love it when our business partners step up and help provide for our community. So thank you to McCarthy Construction for coming in and providing all those supplies and the backpacks for our backpack drive. Our public relations department produced a back to school promo video with all of our high school mascots. The video showed all of the mascots getting everything prepped and ready for the start of the school year. So if you have a few seconds, go up and see that fun video up on our website. And 5 Region 2 MCJROTC programs have been named Naval Honor Schools by the Commanding General of the Marine Corps Training and Education Command for their outstanding performance this past school year, competing against 244 schools nationwide. And one of our very own, Tolleson Union High School, has made that list. We are going to bring Dr. Hall along with the cadets out to our next meeting so we can properly recognize them and congratulate them in person. And season 2 of the Education Exchange podcast has begun. Our very first podcast of the season featured our new principal over at Tolleson Union High School, Martín Perez. So if you have a chance, feel free to go up and check out our podcast and you can see us introduce our new principal. Arizona high school football teams have some of the coolest helmets, and for 2025, one of our very own schools is in the running for favorite helmet according to the Arizona Republic. Right here, Copper Canyon has seized the opportunity to get their helmet into the mix for best high school helmet in Arizona. So the Arizona Republic has ranked the best and allows their readers to vote in a poll to pick their favorite from the list of 16. So they're in the final 16. If you want to go vote for Copper Canyon, the poll can be found online at azcentral.com/sports/high schools. So and there's a QR code up there for those of you who have your cell phones out and you want to give them a vote right here while you're in the meeting. They'll keep the poll open until August 22nd at noon, the day that 1A through 3A conference teams kick off the season. So good luck to Copper Canyon, and hopefully everybody in this room can get them another vote to get them a little bit closer to making it across that finish line. And we don't have a picture, but we have something even better. We have the man in person, nominated as one of the finalists for Arizona Teacher of the Year. He is now one of the 10 finalists, our very own Tyler Hill. Since we don't have your picture up there, if you want to stand it so everybody can see. So keep your fingers crossed. We are very excited. We're hoping Tyler's going to come across the finish line and really do us proud by being the Arizona Teacher of the Year. So that event will be coming up soon as well. And we're hoping that we'll have even much more great news to share with you when he goes from being top 10 to being number 1. And that's just a few of the highlights since our last meeting.
Thank you, Superintendent Guys, and now we'll be doing the board members update, if there's any, starting with Member Luna Najera. And now to Member Ortega Romero.
Yeah, I just want to say, we're starting off a new school year, super exciting. Thank you to, all the teachers and staff that really do help with the future and the success of each student. I could say as a student myself, a few years ago, it goes a long way, and I really do appreciate even now the success of teachers. It goes a long way. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Ortega Romero, and now to our Vice President Chapman.
I had an opportunity to go around on the freshman focus day and first day of school. I just want to thank everyone from our district office operations, bus drivers, our nutrition service, our facilities folks, all the way down to our sites, administration teams, our teachers and support staff for welcoming our students back to first day of school. It looked like a lot of great positive energy at each of the campuses, so I appreciate all the work that everybody did to get the school year started. Looking forward to the great things that we have going on this year. And that's all I have. So just thank you all, and have a good school year.
Thank you, Member Chapman, and I would like to extend my gratitude to all members of our district, and that this new year that we're going to start is not going to be, let's say, lack of a better word, easy, but rest assured that we will support every one of you guys along the way. And sometimes we may fall short, but please, our doors are open, and come and talk to us. We have a strong team, and we're going to keep it that way, and we're going to move forward with positivity. That's patience. So with that, I ask all of your patience, and that we move forward in time with positivity. And congrats to all the teachers for a successful first day. I know it wasn't easy, and for our nominees for the Teacher of the Year, Kyle, win or lose, you also are number 1. Thank you for even showing up and stepping up. And now we will move to our next item on the agenda, and that will be public participation. And before we start, just to give you the guidelines, so all regular and special meetings of the board shall be open to the public. The board invites the viewpoints of citizens throughout the district and considers the responsible presentation of these viewpoints vital to the efficient operation of the district. The board also recognizes its responsibility for the proper governance of the school, and therefore the need to conduct its businesses in an orderly and efficient manner. Any individual desiring to address the board shall complete a form, request to address board, and give this form to the governing board's executive assistant prior to the start of the board meeting. No one may approach the dais to speak with the board members, the superintendent, or the administrative assistant without the board president's permission, whether before, during, after, or intermittently in the meeting. Anyone wishing to speak with those on the dais must first obtain approval from the board president. Should any board members like to approach and speak with the audience, they can remove themselves from the dais and approach the audience and have a discussion. Therefore, free speech is not violated. This is the time for the public to comment. Governing board members are not permitted to discuss or take legal action on matters raised during the open call to the public, unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. However, the law permits governing board members to do the following at the conclusion of the open call to the public. A, respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the governing board. B, ask staff to review a matter. Or C, ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. In order to facilitate accomplishing the business of the district in a timely manner, a time limit of 3 minutes will be imposed for each individual or group addressing the board. When you approach the podium, please state your name for the record. Our first speaker will be Tyler Hill.
Good evening, President Sun, Vice President Chapman, Superintendent Caius, members of the governing board. My name is Tyler Hill, and I am a proud teacher in this district, starting my 5th year here in the district. And from the moment that I've gone in this district, I came into this district until now, the growth that I've seen and how we treat education is incredible. And I watched a lot of the recent hearings from the Joint Legislative Audit Committee, and I get really frustrated as a teacher because a lot of those attacks were directed towards us teachers. And I think about the work that we put in to this profession to make sure that our kids are successful. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. And so I just kind of want to highlight some of the awesome things that our teachers have done this year to prepare our students for success. This year at UH, we really pushed professional learning communities. I have never seen a group of teachers like my science department work so strategically to set our students up for success this year. We identified essential skills. We identified what those essential skills were going to look like from when our students enter as freshmen to when they leave as seniors. And this work is not just happening at University High School, this work is happening everywhere in this district. Additionally, we had a full day. Teachers had a full day this year, thanks to you all, just to work in our classrooms. I have heard from countless teachers how appreciated they felt having that full day to work in their classrooms and to prepare their classrooms for our students, because it takes hours to put our classrooms together. I am so excited for this year. I get jitters every time that a new year begins, and I'm confident that what you are doing to set us up for success are the right decisions and are setting our students up for success. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and now our next speaker will be Kim Owens.
Thank you very much. Conflict of interest laws are in place to avoid self-dealing by public officials and to ensure that public resources are used for public purposes versus the interest of a public officer. ARS 38503 says, any public officer who has a substantial interest in any decision of a public agency shall make known such interest. ARS 38502 calls a substantial interest any pecuniary or proprietary interest other than a remote interest. And ARS 38510 says, if the violation is intentional or knowing, it is a Class 6 felony. Upon conviction, a public officer or employee forfeits the public officer employment. On Tuesday, May 9th, 2023, there was an approval agreement on the governing board agenda between AIU and Tolleson District. In the language, it said it would allow employees to pursue a bachelor's degree, master's degree, or doctoral degree at no cost to the employee. It says the district would pay up to $5,000 per employee, and that the educational opportunity will allow Tolleson District employees to achieve quality professional growth and development. That was moved by Mr. Chapman and approved at 4-0. And it's a commendable program. The minutes of July 8th, 2025 at the public hearing for the budget, taken from the minutes, it says community members participated in the public hearing concerning the district's budget. The third bullet reads, public inquiries on budget specifics, one of which was board member tuition expenses. And that was my question, in which I asked if the budget under consideration or any previous budget as a matter of comparison and spending contained funding for board member tuition. Superintendent Kaya said no, as reflected in the minutes, where it says clarifications included the absence of tuition expenses for board members. However, at the Monday, July 28th, all staff back to school event, a recognition of our graduates from AIU was provided, and it included the name Stephen Chapman. Is there a Stephen Chapman who is an employee of the district? Or was this a reference to Board Vice President Stephen Chapman? Which would beg the question, did the district pay his tuition? And if not, did he pay his tuition directly or reimburse the district? Was there any benefit he received that would otherwise only be available to an employee, such as a discount credit or grant funding? Was there ever a statement of conflict made to identify that in fact he was receiving something of substantial interest? And if there was any payment made on his behalf by the district, that would be an intentional violation of ARS 38510. And I realize this is not on the agenda and you can't answer it, but I would respectfully request that we have it either an answer in writing or it be added to a future agenda item. The public has a right to know. Thank you.
Next will be Lisa Daly.
Thank you. All right, board. So my name is Lisa Daly. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak at this time. I'm a parent of 2 students at Tolleson High School. They are seniors this year, as long as an aunt to 2 freshmen and a junior. The couple things I have concerned that I'd like to talk about. First, I know that you don't have much parents coming to these meetings. So I'm proud to say as a parent, I do want to talk to the teachers and thank them. They do have a hard job. I really appreciate them very much. The concerns I have is that 2 things. The first thing is we have seen that Tolleson ROTC got national recognition, yet they're having to do major fundraising to be able to do any other activities that go along with what they're doing. I don't understand this because as our superintendent has said that we have lots of money, we have money to give away to other schools, we have money to buy land, but me as a parent who can't afford to give thousands of dollars for my students, I wish I could, but I do not. I live in Tolleson and I'm on a limited income. Me and my husband both have to work. He's on medical leave. And there are other parents who make way less than I do who I know cannot afford to donate so that their students can go on trips with JROTC and represent our great school. I just don't understand if we have so much money to give away and buy land with, why are we as parents having to donate? Last year, just between my family for my son that's in ROTC, we had to donate almost $1,000 and he still didn't get to go on the trip due to a technicality that we now know why. He got a B instead of straight A's, and then the next semester he got straight A's. But I don't understand how other parents are donating a lot of money, because we can see who donates. We can see who donates for what student and how much. Again, I would just love to know why our board and superintendent cannot donate to other programs. As said by this gentleman from UH, the last board meeting he said that for his garden for UH. you know, that there's no funding for that or whatever it may be. It's not the only classes that are doing funding. I won't say other classes just because they're not here to speak up for themselves, but that's a big concern. The other concern for me as a parent that I care about all students, not just my own, is the cafeteria issue. The cafeteria is under construction, and the line is outdoors, uncovered. They're not allowed to go inside. They're not allowed to, they have to stand in line for 20 minutes. It's 1,500 students each lunch period. There's no covering. Do I need to go purchase, as a parent, a pop-up canopy so my kids are covered and not falling out, passing out from heat stroke? Last week it was 118 degrees, and there they are standing, not allowed to go inside again. Remember, they're not allowed to go inside ever during lunch. I know that phones are a big concern, but I would be more concerned about my kid or my kids passing out from the heat. Again, last thing I'll leave it on is that when I get upset when the superintendent Calles goes in at freshman orientation day wanting to make a video saying, oh, people don't want you to spend, I spent $100 million on Tolleson, but people think we don't care. And we're gonna make a video now that say, well, we care, we matter. Of course they matter, sir. We all matter. All those kids matter, the teachers matter. But I just wanna know, like, if there's money or not money. Like, I don't understand. So that's my time, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And now our next guest will be, is it Fia Daly? F-I-A or F-I-G? I can't read the handwriting. Come on down. Please state your full name for the record.
Hello, my name is Sophia Daly, and hello board and attendees. I'm a student and I'm a senior at Tolleson High School. The last 3 years were great and enjoyable, but this year definitely hasn't started out amazing. I'd like to start with phones. So I heard that last year there was a student with a gun and it fell out of his pocket. And I'd like to say phones don't kill, guns do. And I heard that student wasn't expelled and he was still allowed to play on the football team. And no parents nor students were alerted, which I think is super concerning. And if something as real as a shooting happened, would you guys slide it under the rug? Or do you think phones are your enemy? And the cafeteria is going under renovations, and as my mom stated, it is super hot outside. I have gotten sick from being outside, even though I drink lots of water. And my friends even wonder if it's worth waiting 20 minutes just to get Peter Piper pizza. The only fruit and nutrition we have is apples, which doesn't fill you up, it's gonna make you dizzy. And I think it's also concerning how the girls' bathrooms, ever since from a year ago, they don't have no soap, no toilet paper, and we have menstrual cycles, so it could get very messy. And the fact that we don't even have soap to wash our hands is deeply concerning. Our school, only academically, 20% of students are doing well in reading and math, which shouldn't be a thing. And another thing, I'm also embarrassed to tell people I'm from Tolleson because of the scandal between the superintendent and a board member, a public affair. And whenever I tell people I'm from Tolleson, they only talk about that. And how our superintendent is always on the news telling freshmen that other people will say they don't matter, which they do. And I want to be proud of the school. And I want to show my school pride, but it's challenging when people only talk about the dark side of the district. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your feedback. Every feedback is very important, and we take it to heart. Our next speaker will be Cruz Daly. I wonder if you guys are related. Come on down.
Hello, my name is Cruz Daly. I'm a senior at Tolleson Union High School. I'm a member of the JROTC, and I just had a couple of comments and concerns about just some of the stuff that's going on at Tolleson Union High School. One of the most glaring issues I've noticed is this single exit after school. I'm noticing it causes immense traffic and congestion, not only for the school, but also for the businesses surrounding the school in Tolleson. It can take a number of minutes to actually leave the area once students get into their vehicle. The single exit issue also leads to students having to walk farther than they usually might have to in over 100-degree heat, with them being unable to use any alternative exits. I understand there's construction, but it was my understanding that the construction would be finished by the time the school year had started. Another thing I've heard much about is the issue of phone lockboxes. I understand it is a state law, however, I know many students and teachers whose classrooms functioned fine before lockboxes came into effect. Students and teachers were content with keeping phones in backpacks because it kept out of the way while also remaining in the students' possessions. If worse came to worse, and something were to happen at the school, students' phones are not easily accessible to contact anyone in case of any emergency. So overall, I do think there need to be some changes with how things are going on at, most notably Tolleson Union High School, because I go there. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Cruz. And now to our next guest speaker will be John Carnero.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is John Carnero. I'm a proud graduate of Tolleson Union High School, and I won't tell you what year. I don't want to scare you. I also have the pleasure of having one of my former co-board members, Kim Owens. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your participation. I just want to share with you a couple of things. During my years, not only as a student, but as a school board member, I was very proud to serve with the people that I served with. Because their priority, given the fact that there were differences of opinion, was education. And I'm also very, very proud to say that we served with superintendents who had education knowledge, education background, and had a heart. And that made a big difference, and it made it easier for us as a board to function. So I want to emphasize the importance of having a superintendent that has the education and the experience in education, because that's what we're all about. I guess my next subject would be where we stand now. And I have to say I'm very, very disappointed. We have a school board and a superintendent that have brought controversy and embarrassment to this district. And it's troubling because Tolleson has a long, long history of proud things, of positive things. And as is just said before, that has tarnished our image as a school district, and it affects everybody. No one is spared. So, the controversy and the embarrassment goes beyond the boundaries of this district. It's now reached the level of the Arizona State Legislature. A bipartisan commission is investigating the actions of the school board and the superintendent as to the issues and the way this school has been operated. And from what I understand, the audit is ongoing, and hopefully the public and we as citizens, as graduates, get a real picture, a true picture, other than the picture that we're being told how good things are here. Tolleson Union High School needs a board that puts that priority of education at the very top of the list. Politics don't belong on the top of the list. So I urge the board, and maybe a new board, to prioritize education again and place it on the very top of the list. And I guess the other item that really concerns me is we now have a superintendent that really doesn't have an education background. And as some of the topics that have been brought up to you, it's very apparent that we're not being told the full story. So I close by saying one thing. As superintendent of this school district, you should prioritize education, because Tolleson Union High School is an educational institution, not a bank and not a financial institution.
Thank you, John, for your comments. And now to our next guest speaker will be Gabriela Flores Cabrera. My apologies for not rolling the R's. Please come to the podium.
Okay, hello. President Sun, Vice President Chapman, Cayes, members of the board. My name is Gabriela Flores Cabrera, also can't roll the R's. I am actually a graduate of Westview High School. I'm a fourth-year teacher at West Point High School, and there are two things I want to address. The first one is that when I was a student at Westview, I had access to resources. But as a teacher at West Point High School, my students have more resources than I had access to when I was in high school. And I think for me that shows a positive growth for our students and for our school. So I do appreciate that. I also want to address the cell phone policy to kind of clarify things for students and for the community. In my last 3 years of teaching, when students were allowed access to their phones, I watched students kind of disappear in my classroom. They were in the room with us, but they weren't actually present and participating. I wouldn't see their personalities for months. It took me a long time to connect with the students. They wouldn't talk to me. They weren't even talking to each other. A lot of the assignments that I got were late, rushed, or oftentimes not even turned in. And on quiz days, students would kind of rush those quizzes so they'd go back to their cell phones. And the priority wasn't their academics or their learning. The priority was getting done. Now with phones banned or students not having access to those phones, my students are actually engaged in class. They're becoming more creative and curious. I've seen their personalities in days, again, not seeing it for months before. And the assignments are actually done on time, and they're done well. On quiz days, so on Friday, students took their time, they double-checked their answers, and they were actually writing incomplete sentences. I was shocked to see what students did with their time after the quiz. And to God, I had students playing ice hockey games, chess, reading books. I even had a student researching stocks. So my point is that the learning continued even after the quiz. Last year, I did have a student who came late often, if she was even in class, and she would spend the very few minutes that she did have in class on her phone. One day, I did redirect her, put her phone away, and she held a finger to my face and said that she was busy. I guess she was telling her mother what she wanted from the Amazon cart. To her, that was more important than class, her grades, and more important than graduating. And when I spoke to her mother, she defended the behavior. I think the truth for me is that cell phones in class can feed into fiction. Breaking this isn't going to be easy for students, nor will it be easy for parents. But they're not in the classroom with us, and I feel almost bad for them. They don't get to see what other teachers and myself get to see. They don't get to see their students who are awake, engaged, curious, and capable when their phones are out of reach. I think the district's policy about phones isn't about control or punishment. This is about reclaiming our students' time, attention, and potential. This is about giving them back the space that they need to think and connect with each other. In just a few days, I've seen more focus, more effort, and more genuine learning than I did all of last year. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and next will be Ava Alderette. Please come to the podium.
It's all good, please.
Good evening, members of the governing board. My name is Ava Flower Alderete, and I'm currently a junior at Tolleson High School. Students and teachers are what empower our schools. Without students like me, schools wouldn't be as vibrant and lively as they are today. But that's not why I'm here. There are many problems at our school. Student drop-off and pickup is one of the many problems. It is barely the second Tuesday of school, and the only student entrance is constantly backed up. Often, it takes students about 10 to 20 minutes just to get in the parking lot to get to school. Not to mention the absence of traffic control. This makes it difficult for students who drive to school. Adding metal detectors, which I heard will be added, would just add more time taken, which could be put towards getting to class. Many parents have resorted to dropping off their kids at Sonic and Family Dollar across the street just to get their kids, to school on time. Another problem is the girls' bathroom. Since the end of my freshman year, it has been an issue not having soap and enough toilet paper in the stalls. I would often not use the bathroom due to the lack of necessities, and when I do, I have to bring my own sanitizer. Just yesterday, I decided to use the bathroom for the first time this year. There was no toilet paper, minimal soap, and the menstrual disposal had no bag, and the bathroom was disgusting. I've recently heard that the 2200 building connected to the UH bathroom overflowed. How many students will it take up here for things to change? How many students late will it take for more student entry into the school? I will come up here as many times as I have to, just for there to be change. Thank you.
Thank you. And next will be if member Ortega Romero, if you can help me pronounce this name. I can't recognize the name. Come on down.
Hello, my name is Aaliyah and I'm a senior at Tolleson High School. I just want to talk about the bathroom situations. It's been a problem for a while now, and some bathrooms are closed. For me, it's really hot outside, and I have like thick hair, so it's kind of, I get nosebleeds sometimes. It sucks having to walk all the way to a different bathroom and seeing it's closed. When it's open, there's like barely enough soap or some toilet paper. Last year, it's not awkward, but there was a girl who had asked for some toilet paper, and I felt bad for her because nobody else was there. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the school buses. There's gonna be more kids coming into the school, like especially more freshmen, and the buses are going to be really packed, and most of them don't have enough spaces, so they have to have 3 at a seat. I think we should have more buses if that's not a problem. And then the lunch lines is very packed. It has like a whole crowd at the beginning of lunch. Some people, like, they don't have water, so they start kind of passing out, so people would have to like walk away to the shade, and most teachers don't let, some security guards don't let them go into the buildings, which I understand, but it is hot, and last week was around 115, 117. So I hope we get to really get into buildings, and thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Well done. Next speaker will be Michael Connor.
Thank you, Board President, Vice President Chapman, and members of the board, as well as Superintendent Kite. The first part of my public comments as a teacher at Westview High School, as a government teacher, the fact that we have students that are willing to come up here and speak and show tremendous courage. I was going to take a moment of my time to thank you guys for coming up here, because that's incredible. Availing themselves of their First Amendment rights, as well as addressing the elected board, truly incredible in my opinion. The first thing I want to talk about is the superintendent bringing controversy and embarrassment to the district that was brought up. There's been a lot of things in the news. But what's not in the news is the tremendous amount of great things that this district is doing. One of the commenters today said something about how he wants us to focus on education and student achievement. Caius is. When he first came, one of the first things he said was, I want to make sure that our students have the resources and the teachers the resources to be able to accomplish what we've been able to do. He said, what do we need? Teacher said, we need more time. He says, no problem. What we're going to do is we're going to modify the schedule a little bit so teachers can plan and have meetings with PLTs and PLCs every single Wednesday. We now plan that. Over the summer, we work on curriculum. He's made funds available to bring in teachers over the summer to work on curriculum. We have a tremendous amount of resources available to us. Whether it's just textbooks, we have multiple drives, we have our Teams messages with. It is inundated with resources we can give to these students. And quite frankly, our scores are increasing since the pandemic. The pandemic, we saw loss across the board, and we have exceeded and gone back to being where we needed to be, and we're going to continue to grow. We're about to have 2 A schools. Next year, I guarantee we have 3, if not more. But I want to talk about some of this controversy that we had. I mean, let's talk about previous controversies we had. One of the group that is bringing a lot of these folks to the table has a member that's a former superintendent. When some of these board members that are here, when he was superintendent, he resigned in shame because he had taken about $30,000 in inappropriate money from our district that he was forced to repay. Now he sits here as this group. Somehow he's regained his status in the community, and that seems to be a good thing. We do have a priority on education in our district. Some of these students are here capable of it. I don't work on Tolleson, I can't speak to the particular issues, but I know Westview looks great. We got great buildings, we have new facilities, we have things that are coming in. West Point looks amazing. I've been on Tolleson's campus. It looks very beautiful. They got a new cafeteria in there, they got shade in there. That doesn't take away from the fact it's 110 or whatever. I would commend the students for saying that. However, at the end of the day, there is a laser-like focus on education in our district. And across the board, the teachers feel it, we recognize it, and we are working towards making that change happen. And that starts at the top with the superintendent and our board making resources available so we can get into the classroom and actually do this. One-to-one computers, curriculum across the board, resources more than I could possibly use in a year, and the continued focus on building that curriculum year after year after year, bringing in teachers, bringing in staff, continuing that growth through our old house department. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael, for your comments. And then our very last, we saved the best for last, Melissa Bimshay.
Good evening, President Sun, Vice President Chapman, Superintendent Kayes, members of the board, Ms. Goodman. My name is Melissa Grimscheid. I serve as the president of the Tolleson Union Education Association. We are the labor union representing educators in the Tolleson Union High School District. I've been duly elected to be the president representing both classified and certified staff in our district. I wanted to talk about the JLAC hearing and what I saw in that, because it's been infuriating me and causing a loss of sleep ever since then. So we've been under attack in public education for as long as I have been working in public education. I feel like we are constantly beating back these zombies that keep knocking on our gates. And I want to say zombies because it seems like every time that we beat them back, every time that we feel that the attacks stop, they just seem to regrow and continue. And we now have people who have opened the gates to these zombie attacks. And now, what I heard at that JLAC hearing was some of the worst enemies of public education in the state of Arizona making comments that insinuated that the members I was elected to represent do not do our jobs. I heard them comment about students not showing proficiency in math. I want to be perfectly clear, that is the ACT test. We have shown massive growth. I have seen it in every single one of our site principals' presentations over the past 5 years that I have been coming in person to these meetings ever since we came back after the pandemic. I've seen the presentations where they're showing continuous growth in not only ACT math, but reading, writing, science, overall composite scores, year after year after year. And the JLAC committee didn't show growth. They don't care. They care about the scores. Because you know what? It's what we've been doing for the past 2, 3, 5 decades, is using one single data point to show that public schools aren't effective. Public schools are extremely effective. If you see every single time, I can't wait till we start in the spring, seeing our site principals presenting about their campuses because they show amazing growth. They show all the kids getting seals of biliteracy, our CTE programs, ROTC, athletics, extracurriculars, kids getting their seal of civic literacy, adding the seal of financial literacy, graduation rates going up, having a commitment day where students are excited to leave high school and take that next step. And we need to beat back these attacks any way we can, because it's infuriating, it's tiring. And if I hear about one teacher who has to hear some of this misinformation on Thursday at parent night, we need to do something about it.
That concludes our public participation. And now we will move to, 1 second please. Item EF, approval of the consent agenda. It is recommended that the governing board approve the consent agenda as presented. I motion. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Dr. Luna Naheda? No. Mr. Ortega Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
And Ms. Sutton?
Yes.
Second, Mr. Del Palacio?
Yes.
And now to item letter G. God bless you. Action discussion item to approve revised job descriptions for the Director of Business Services and Assistant Director of Business Services. Administration seeks governing board approval of job descriptions for the Director of Business Services and Assistant Director of Business Services position. Ms. Stacy Alvarez, Executive Director of Human Resources, is available to answer questions.
Good evening, President Sun, Vice President Chapman, members of the board. Administration seeks governing board approval to approve the job descriptions for the Director of Business Services and the Assistant Director of Business Services.
I motion. Second.
Second.
please. Dr. Luna Najera?
Yes.
Mr. Del Palacio?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
And Ms. Sun?
Yes.
Now, items to G2, discussion consideration to adopt policy JICJ, student use of personal digital communication and electronic devices, second read. This policy was presented for review of the first read of policy JICJ, student use of personal digital communication and electronic devices at the July 8, 2025 Governing Board meeting. This policy aims to balance the educational benefits of technology with the need for a focused and safe learning environment. This policy outlines specific guidelines for cell phone and electronic device use, emphasizing restrictions during instructional hours, acknowledging the authority of staff to manage inappropriate use. By adhering to these guidelines, we strive to create a positive and productive school experience for all students within Tolleson Union High School District. This policy has been reviewed by the committee and legal counsel. This is a second read. Final approval and adoption is recommended. So before we go into roll call, for members, if you guys would like to have any comments, because we know we had some concerns from public comments. Members, Luna Najera, Member Del Blasio, Member Chapman.
Yeah, just real quick, I do want to thank the students as well. So again, discussed during the public comment, but it's on the agenda. So I do want to thank you guys for coming out, sharing your perspective. I think we put a lot of time and work into what this is going to look like. We had a committee of staff members involved. Part of it's just a legislative mandate piece. But from the teachers I've talked to, the way the policy is drafted, this isn't like a total zero phones. I mean, there are times in class where probably phones are going to be accessible for different projects and things like that, passing periods, lunches, obviously. This is just us trying to comply as best as we can with legislative mandates, creating an engaging learning environment. Kind of the first year for us doing this district-wide. We had a couple of schools doing this last year. I think Sierra Linda piloted campus-wide. I think Copper Canyon might have had this for part of second semester. Showed some positive results. So it's a process that will continue to evolve. We'll appreciate your feedback as we move along here. But thank you again for coming out and speaking tonight.
Thank you, Member Chapman. I do have some question on this policy. Superintendent guys, will you be able to answer some of my questions, or should we have certain district members to come to the podium to answer some questions?
Yes, Madam President, it'll probably depend on the specific question itself, but I can always call for a staff member.
Thank you. So my first question is, with this policy in place and this mandate, what are the rooms flexibility that we have in place in this policy that will address emergencies for the students and their family?
Yes, and I think Derek Folleson's in the room. Derek, come on down. Derek led our committee that was working on this policy, so he has all the specific details on those items that were discussed.
Just for the record, I do know the answer to my own questions, but I want to expose and to share with the audience, since we had a lot of students coming before us and asking these questions themselves, which I greatly appreciate. So here's our chance to have this discussion. And Derek, thank you for this policy. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we will answer the questions that you guys all have had in consideration during your public comments.
President Sun, Vice President Chapman, Board members, Superintendent Kayas. The policy as it is proposed here this evening does allow for students to place their phone in a purse, bag, backpack, or in the phone locker or in their personal possession, as long as it is put in a silent mode and turned off. The purpose of that is that if there were to be an emergency, that falling in line with our current protocols, that we always have allowed students access to their phones and to use their phones to contact their parents at an appropriate time that is deemed safe based on the protocol we're using. The particular protocol where this really comes into play is going to be a secure or a lockdown. And those are where we're securing the perimeters, the gates, the buildings, and the doors, or a lockdown, which would be reserved for an active shooter situation. In those two particular protocols, we would not want to have any phone activity at any time. In fact, the presentation to the students about our standard response protocol tells them, please do not have your phones out, on, or using them during that time. However, at the appropriate time where they can contact their parents, let them know their location, let them know their safety status. That would be permitted and is still going to be permitted at the correct time. And again, we don't want phones to create an unsafe situation if we were in the middle of a protocol. So even if they were always in possession of their phones, we would allow them use of their phones at the same time we would now under this policy. So I know that's a really long-winded answer, but it does tie into the protocols that we have currently, as well as what we had previously.
Okay, and then my next question is, hypothetically speaking, this is an alleged mandate. What happens if we are in violation of the alleged mandate?
Well, I can't speak to the legislative.
It could be
community.
addressed by the superintendent.
I can speak to this, Madam President. Anytime that we're not in compliance with Arizona revised statutes, they are able to authorize a non-compliance withholding and withhold a portion of our funds that we receive from the state, until which time that we come back into compliance, and at that point in time, they would release the funds. So that's been the process for a number of years. The district at one point, just prior to my arrival, had gone into marginal compliance on a couple of items, but to my record, I don't remember us being in non-compliance on any items before. But with my experience with the Department of Education, as soon as you go into non-compliance, there's a withholding, typically 10% of your funding until you come back into compliance.
Is it safe to say that our hands are tied when it comes to this particular mandate, because we don't really have a say or adjustment to even go outside what's written in the bill, the languages, and that we had to follow to a certain extent of the alleged mandate, therefore the policy that we have in place?
Madam President, there are requirements in the new law that has been proposed by the state. It does allow for some flexibility. For example, we are allowing the use of phones during passing periods, during lunchtime. There are other districts that are not allowing the phone during passing periods, during lunchtime, none whatsoever. My children at their district, they are not allowed to have the phone from the time they get to school to the time they leave school. So it left enough in there where districts could have some flexibility, with the primary emphasis on use of phone during instructional hours, and left some of the non-instructional piece really up to the individual districts to determine how to handle.
Personally, as a board member, the policy I very much approve because it gives more flexibility than other districts have. And that, with that, mindset and writing this policy and looking at it in detail, I looked at it, night and day, and there are some suggestions that I would like to put in, but it kind of violates what is mandated. So there's just so much we can do. Sometimes, when things are not going in your direction, you may want to go to the place that mandated and speak your, dissent. I understand. When we saw this bill, we were like, how are we going to, have this come through and still honor, your privacy and your access to free speech and communication. Of course, your safety was foremost. Derek, our superintendent, can you address the next question is, what about special needs students, IEPs and so forth?
Yes, President Sun, Vice President Chapman, Governing Board. We do accommodate a couple areas, and one is for any student that's on a 504 or has an IEP that allows them for their academic success or for an intervention that may be related to their disability to use headphones or to use music while they're reading or to utilize technology in a way that best suits that individual student. So it is possible you could walk in a classroom and a parent would see a teacher doing modifications with a student on a 504 or an IEP. And in addition, teachers still have the freedom to utilize technology for instruction. So it does allow for individual freedom to use it for the appropriate use, and it is designed to eliminate unnecessary use during instructional time. So 504s, IEPs, as well as for instruction, it's all in there.
Thank you, Derek. And the policy is attached to this agenda. You guys can look this up and print it out. And we are also open to addendum and adjusting moving forward. Since this is our first year, there will be a lot of trial and error. And of course, your feedback is always welcome, because at the end of the day, student focus, student outcome comes first. And we know that this bill is actually very well written from the ledger, which is very rare. It gives a really nice flexibility. If you guys can, look into it more closely and understand all the parameters. And if you don't, you're always welcome to come before the board or to your campus to ask for more, information. These are all public information that you guys can tap into. So with that said, if any other questions, comments from my fellow board members, we will move on to the next item. Derek, thank you so much for coming to the podium.
Thank you, President. So I want to make sure to thank all the 30 committee members that were on the discipline committee that helped draft this up, parents, students, teachers, counselors, social workers, admins, security guards. They really are put this together, so I'll make sure credit goes where it's due.
Thank you. Thank you for that addition.
I make a motion to approve policy JSCJ.
So moved. Roll call.
Dr. Luna Najera?
Yes.
Mr. Del Palacio?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
And Ms. Sun?
Yes. And now to the discussion and consideration to appoint a delegate to serve at the Arizona School Board Association Delegate Assembly to be held on September the 6th, 2025. Now, do we vote on who that will be? And I would like to nominate myself and any other board members that would like to be considered to be the delegate. I hereby motion Lisa Sun to be the appointed delegate to serve at the Arizona School Board Association Delegate Assembly to be held on September 6, 2025. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Luna Najera?
No.
Mr. Del Palacio?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
And Ms. Sun?
Yes. Thank you, my fellow board members, for your vote of confidence. And now to item G4, discussion, consideration to approve and hold or in part the draft of 2026 political agenda of the Arizona School Board Association and direct the district's delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly to represent the board's determined position at the assembly to be held on September 6, 2025.
motion to approve directing the delegate to support the agenda as is.
So moved. Roll call?
Dr. Luna Najera?
No.
Mr. Del Palacio?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
And Ms. Sun?
Yes. And now to item I, request for future agenda items. Fellow board members, any requests for the future agenda items? So none, just a housekeeping. Our future meetings of the governing board remains on a Tuesday night at 6 p.m. on August the 26th, September the 9th, and September the 23rd. And with that said, I'd like to motion to adjourn this meeting, and I have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Luna Najera? Mr. Del Palacio? Mr. Ortega Romero?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
And Ms. Sun?
Yes. I hereby adjourn this meeting at 7:11. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you all. Good night.